cell phone, the thing we all can't live without, but can be also dangerous and connecting us and disconnecting us. So let's start with the writer and director. Where did this idea come from, and why did you want to make this film?
Well, first of all, I'm just the director. She's the writer, Rachel. But this idea was originally a short film that we made a long time ago, and I was taking a walk, and I thought, what if there was a monster in our cell phone? And then Rachel added this time element where what if it's in the future? It's showing the future on the phone, and that's how we kind of got started with it.
Yeah, and
Great.
then just to add to that, I think that like your phones are obviously always in your hand. You know, they're always watching you, listening, and like people always talk about that, but I did wonder like what would that look like if it was listening and then it was like playing into your worst fears and then showing you kind of what your worst fears are.
Nice. And going over to our actors, what made you want to sign on? We'll start with Whitney.
Um, well, I was just I knew before even reading the script, I took 5 years off of acting to just take care of my own mental health. And I just was this opportunity presented itself, and I was like, this time around, I want to be pickier. I want to be, a little bit pickier, and I want to see, does this script like give me chills? Does it light me up, or am I a little cringy about it? And I was all in just by the first read, and I was just excited to be a part of it.
And I see we have a ghost lingering next to you.
Yeah.
I'm the new Ghost edition. I mean, it's the same thing with me. When I read the script, I was blown away by the writing. I actually auditioned for a different character in the film, which luckily I didn't get. Because I never would have been on set with Whitney, which we're engaged now. I don't know if you knew that, but so I play her fiance in the movie. But I loved every part of the script. It was amazing, and I was like 100% in from the beginning.
Nice. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then over to Justin, what made you want to sign on to this project?
Yeah, I think I had already actually had like a bunch of things that I was getting ready for, and then I had a little bit of time, so I was like, okay, let me see. This group has just reached out to me with this script that looks pretty incredible, and they gave me some sides, and I remember reading through the sides and falling in love with this character and just being like, oh, they don't know when to stop talking. This is every family member I have. Like I feel very intimately connected with this character and the energy of just being in my own world and building my own world live in a conversation. So that was, I felt that connection was like, okay, I can't ignore that. This is going to be a good opportunity.
I mean, obviously you're professional, Justin, but was there any trouble like keeping track of all that dialogue? Because you're right, he just constantly keeps going and just has that
Yeah,
energy. Go, 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 go.
yeah, yeah. He's a very talkative boy. I remember that first scene that we did. It's like a crazy long one shot. Um, Memorizing that wasn't too bad because some of that was a part of the audition, which was nice. But I also have a lot of experience with Shakespeare and like having to memorize big sonnets and big soliloquies and monologues and stuff. So I was already had all my tricks ready.
Nice. And Whitney, how was that keeping up with all those words coming at you constantly? And your character is a bit more reclusive.
Yes, yes. Um, it's funny because it was like both sides of my personality. Like I can either talk, talk, talk and don't know when to shut up, or I really go more introverted. But I feel like I was just along for the ride with Justin. I was just excited because he also is fantastic at improving. So I was like, who knows what's about to come up next? And I think I liked it because it kept me on my toes.
And Rachel, being the writer, how was improv for you when your actors are taking what you've written and changing it up, or did you encourage that? What was the set like?
Yeah, I absolutely loved our actors. I know everyone says that, but they were incredible. And honestly, I really was worried about the character of Chris because it was so many lines. I mean, like if you look at the script, it would be like an entire page of dialogue. And you know, with Justin, just specifically with all those lines, we had seen him in this like skit thing that he did where he talked about a foot, and like really that was like just this, it's incredible to see that like a minute long video can make you just so sure of somebody, you know, like the character Chris, I just saw it right there, and he had improv for that, we found out. And so I mean, there's a scene in the movie where Justin improvs and it's so good, and I was just blown away by that, and we're like, just do it, like do what you're gonna say, like say what you're gonna say. But then it was both, because he improv, but then he also really took the time to learn the exact lines, so like that meant a lot to me as the writer, and I like that it brings like collaboration. So he improved and then he also memorized the exact lines, and I'm just very appreciative of that.
Yeah, he got his guitar solo in, you know, at just the right moment. So
Yeah, when it mattered most. And then also I wanted to say Malcolm McDowell's in the film, but he's not here today. And he read the script. I mean, we were just so excited that he would be in the film at all. He's an incredible actor. And I guess something that just means a lot to me as like a new like filmmaker and writer, even though we've been doing this a long time, but this being our first feature film, when he had us over for lunch after he read the script and he said, brilliant script. So that was just a fun career high moment to have Malcolm McDowell in the movie.
Now, kind of a fun question. Where did the ringtone come from? Like, was that created? Did you find it?
yeah, no, that was actually a lot of work. I did all the sound design in this film as well, and it was kind of nerve-wracking to figure out how do we make it, first of all, feel like a ringtone, but also a little bit off, a little bit creepy, you know. And that was a hard balance to find. And then throughout the film, there's many different iterations, and you know, it has its own kind of story to it, the sounds of the phone. So it was a lot of fun to create all that, and I did reference history of how phones were made and where the sounds came from, and so there's historical elements in that. So yeah, that was a lot of fun to research that and create that.
So besides the phone, which is obviously a big part of it, the location is a huge aspect of this film. We'll start with the actors. What was it like being in that kind of environment? It feels very isolated. You kind of seem in the middle of nowhere, but tell me, what was it actually like? We'll start with Whitney.
I was honestly in awe of that house. It was old in from the 1860s, right? 1870s, 1800s. We'll say that. But it was old with the highest ceilings, and it just felt like it was its own character in a lot of ways. And I just felt like it was eye candy. You know, the set deck was gorgeous, and just everywhere you looked, I just felt was I don't know, it just felt right for it. It really did.
Justin, what about you? You also get to be in that crazy tool shed space too.
Yeah, those spaces were wild. They truly had like breathed. They were characters, like Whitney was saying. Like they had such a personality to them that is so strong and so sure of itself. The big home we recorded in, it was filled at one point with like 9 cats lived there, I believe. And fun fact about me, not so fun, I'm allergic to cats. So recording there, so yeah, Jared already knows that recording there is a testament to strength and the power of my algae meds. Because I had to take as much as possible just to get through the shots. But it was, I mean, it was a blast. Truly, like when he was saying, like the structures is of the home and the barn were just so like iconic.
And I want to throw out there that Jan Sommer, the
And-
producer, was did all the set decoration in that and pulled all those pieces together in those rooms. So a lot of what you're seeing is her work.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Luke, Rachel, if you had anything to add on that location, and what was the process of trying to find it?
Yeah, I mean, we were fortunate to, you know, we had some connections to find this location, but part of it was isolated for the story, but also, you know, it allowed us to film efficiently because everything was close by. We didn't have to go a bunch of different places to film this location, and it had a lot of interesting props and furniture that we could utilize. So it was like a prop house as well. So we had kind of a full thing there to work from.
Yeah, I used to say, like, when we were there, I was like, anything that you're looking for, we can find. So, like, because it was just already that way. And I will say we filmed it in Ohio, in the country of Ohio, and it was really isolating. I mean, like, that house was sitting miles from anywhere. And I think that played into just the overall vibe of like being there. So I loved the location. Yeah.
And that line makes its way into the film. Anything you need, you're going to be able to find it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They do that a lot. And they have
Yeah.
a funny way of slipping in there when you're on set filming, also the writer. But yeah, well, because we knew that at a certain point in pre-production, we knew we were going to be filming out there, and so I did want to incorporate like the character of the house into the movie, and I had the knowledge of what it looked like and some of the stuff that was in there, which was good. And the other thing that we faced, which is just interesting about production, I think, is that Ohio has different weather. We're from California, so we're not used to having weather at all. And it kind of, you know, we knew we were going to film there, we were getting ready, and then it kind of became this thing where it was like, we have to film it like right now, like right in this time period, because when we first got there, it was like the end of summer, and then the first like frost happened by the time we were done filming. So we hit it just right. It didn't really rain, it didn't really have anything. So that was a real like awesome thing about filming this, is that everything worked out.
It seemed a little on the chilly side, but I like that sweater look. That was, it's like the evergreen winter fall vibe, but that gives it kind of that ominous, spooky vibe as well.
Yeah, it definitely got really cold towards the end, like
Yes.
cold. And Whitney, the actress, was incredible. I mean, all of our actors are incredible, none of them complained, but Whitney, I mean, hats off to her, because some of those scenes where she wasn't able to wear a coat and she was outside and she's like, I got it, I'm fine, I got it, you know. And I was really impressed by her professionalism, and like all of them, but just especially Whitney for enduring what she endured. It's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I was coming out from California, and so coming to Ohio, even though I'm a New Yorker, I'm from New York, I should be able to handle the cold, but Cali made me kind of a wimp. And so by the end of shooting, it was below 20 degrees and we had a morning shoot, and I'm holding a metal rifle in my hands. And it was very cold, but the coat was at the ready, and feels like the man out and fight. So that's what kind of the mantra there.
I was gonna say, speaking of that musket, how was that to film with, and how real was it? Justin, we'll start with you.
That was incredible. I believe it was real. It fired. What we did, those firings were live. That was just incredible to be able to like learn about how muskets work. And like, I'm saying these lines and I'm also like, oh wow, these are really fun facts. To be able to like know how they like would load it, and like the paper thing, like the reality of it, which was really fun to get into the history of that, while also being able to like use it. It's very fun. It felt like a museum exhibit, but live, you know. It was a really cool time. Really cool time.
Nice.
Yeah, that was an authentic musket, which I knew that we had access to. So that's a big character in the film as well. And I did a ton of research, which I love because I like history. But that definitely was real. But we followed a lot of safety protocol on the set. And you know, the actors were not the ones firing it. Those were doubles that were firing the gun. So completely authentic.
Yeah.
Now, were there any particular challenges you had in filming, and then how did you overcome them, Rachel and Luke?
Yeah, oh, the shoot was definitely, I mean, that's filmmaking 101 is just problem solving. So, I mean, certainly, I mean, to speak to the scene in the barn in the hangar, that was a really technically challenging and a scene because it was a 5.5 minute long scene and we had a 15-minute window to shoot it, so we only had a couple takes. And you know, Justin is, you know, running this incredibly long dialogue scene, and that barn, I filmed it, so I was wearing a Steadicam to do that scene. And you know, everything, the barn is very cramped, and so you're moving around it like you know, it's like trying to yoga yourself through this barn, and while you know, making it seamless for the actors to do their thing. So, and we had a cat jump down in the middle of the take that was unexpected, and Justin did a wonderful like improv there, didn't skip a beat, and it was like, you know, we knew that was the take, like everybody just focused in and did their thing. So, but it was all, yeah, you know, there was lots of moments like that throughout the shoot, just so many wonderful moments. And but yeah, it was challenging just physically and mentally, just staying on point the whole time.
And for the actors, are there any fun behind the scenes moments you haven't had a chance to share yet?
I think when we were shooting the silo scene, it was magical and just bizarre. There were just ladybugs everywhere and hundreds of them, and they were landing on my cheek, they were landing on his shoulder, they were landing everywhere. You could hear them hitting like the sound, like you could hear, or the bounce, they were hitting the bounce. And I love ladybugs, and they're assigned to me from my grandma, so I was like, oh, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And you know, I was getting all sentimental over it. And then but I remember Caleb, who is up doing sound, he was like totally like was skeeved out by the amount of ladybugs. Yeah.
Yeah, we all had to crawl into this silo to film. I mean, we were all just crawling in. It was just muddy, and but it did have these ladybugs everywhere. So it was quite an experience. And then of course the dogs would bark. You know, we were in the middle of, so it took us a long time to get through the scene. But it turned out, I think everything turned out well in the end.
And Jared, any fun behind the scenes stuff you want to share?
The ladybugs was definitely notable. But there was another moment in the movie where Wynn is walking around with the phone, and Luke approached me before the scene and said, "Hey, I want to get a real scare out of Whitney. So what I want you to do is, when I call action, wait about 3 beats, and then I want you to bang on the door." And nobody knew about it but me and Luke. I'm pretty sure, right, Luke?
Yeah.
Not even the sound guy. And the house is so old that the door is just like, so like, it's heavy and it's loud when you do it. And I mean, I banged on it pretty hard and scared Whitney out of frame of the camera, the sound guy.
It looked like I got shot, or I was so
her
shocked.
hair flipped everywhere.
It was,
Yeah, no,
I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to bang that hard. But it was funny. It was funny.
Yeah.
All about authenticity, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
now, what is something you couldn't live without that involves a cell phone? We'll see whoever wants to chime in first.
Google Maps. Terrible with directions. I mean, I need that thing every day pretty much. And the more I use it, the worse I get at remembering directions.
Yeah.
I think for me, like I like the idea of being able to contact my loved ones, like my friends and family. And I know that there's ways to do that, but it's like it's right there, and the people that you love are right there. And so I know there's like a lot of conversation around cell phones and how much influence they have and all that stuff, but I do really enjoy that aspect of it, to staying connected to people that you love.
Yeah. For me,
Yeah,
like, oh, sorry, Luke, you go.
Go ahead, Whitney.
Besides, yeah, being able to stay in contact, I don't think my brain could survive without like timers. Like I use the timer setting so much, otherwise the house would probably be burned down. Yeah, timers and notes. I have so many notes that are, yeah, I make a lot of lists. Yeah,
A lot of lists.
Luke?
Yeah, I mean, probably, I mean, I'm pretty old school with phones, so the phone app, that's pretty boring, but you know, I like calls, so, but also the camera. I mean, the new wide angle lens is pretty cool. I was using that recently, so yeah, but I love camera stuff, so.
And Justin?
I would like to have an original answer, but Whitney and Jared nailed it on the head for me. It's the directions, that GPS is crucial. I'll use it to go up the street, like down the block. I'm going to use my GPS, and also my notes app, and the timer. I'm always
the timer. That's a good timer.
The timer is crazy.
yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, and congratulations on the film.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.